It is the Riot, Thursday, March 23rd podcast edition. If you're listening to this, why did I say if? You're listening to this, and if you listen on Thursday that we actually recorded this, it's the next to last day of the fundraiser.
We're almost done, so we just have today's unique podcast and then tomorrow's one, and that wraps up our spring fundraiser. So give and donate if you can to make sure RadioU and the Worst of the Riot can stay a podcast at RadioU.com before it wraps up. Yes.
So today on the podcast, we talked about Little Caesars, a little new addition to their menu.
You were supposed to talk to us during that time, but you had an accident.
Yeah, I spilled,
You spilled
a big
your water.
glass of water, a completely full mug.
Yeah.
It sounded like it fell almost in the trash can or something. Like it was just a big splash.
Yeah, it was a huge splash. It was like a waterfall effect, but it didn't get on anything that would be important.
Okay, good.
Just like the
chair,
keyboard, computer.
my laptop, everything that's good.
When I was newer, I spilled water on the keyboard in our 2 or 3 studios ago.
Yeah.
And I was so embarrassed I didn't want to say anything about it. So I went over to the computer store and I got a keyboard and I brought
you
it up.
did.
Think anybody would notice?
I did.
What?
Because it totally just fried the keyboard. It was dead.
Oh no!
Wow.
But no one else was on, and it was the secondary one. It wasn't the main keyboard one. But I was just like, hey, let me just go fix this real quick.
We've got anytime we need an equipment upgrade, we just covertly try to coax Nikki into spilling something.
Spill something
Yes.
on it. I don't want to be the one that Chris yells at.
We don't have to tell him. We'll just be like,
you
we'll
just
fix
go
it
to
ourselves.
Micro Center and secretly buy a replacement.
We'll
for
just
it.
take the petty cash.
That's where
and then
I
we'll
went.
go there.
And let me tell you, I was not familiar with Micro Center, and I was just I think I even brought the old keyboard. I was like, just have this.
Give me this, please. Exact same one if you have it.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. And they're like, do you want to put on your account? No, I don't. I'll pay for
That
it.
Micro Center employee will keep that secret to his grave.
Yeah, he'll never tell. So I'm glad none of the other damage in there, or there was nothing damaged.
Yeah, nothing damaged. We also talked about a little girl who tried to order a helicopter and ended up getting grounded.
You guys, does she sound like she's spoiled?
She's 16. Well, she's having fun with it because she even said, because again, my For You page, anything that is trending, I usually get.
Yeah.
And you could tell they were having fun with it. But it's just a different world.
Yeah.
Different world. Even with the boyfriend of the nanny.
Yeah, what a character.
He's just this old, he looks like, who's the guy who did Lord of the Rings, kind of? Peter Jackson.
Okay.
Just reminded me
I don't know
of
what
him.
he looks like.
Just an old guy. And it was just kind of weird.
Do you think, what do you think about her parents not specifically saying they don't want her to be a nepotism kid?
Well, they said that's why she's not supposed to have social media. But then she said, but I can have TikTok because no one will know that she's doing that. And then she also
it's not going to make her famous.
She threw her parents under the bus at the end because she said, the babysitters raise her. Not
her.
It's not her parents, actually, which,
I was just impressed that she used the word nepotism.
Yeah.
Because even me as a 24-year-old, I didn't even know what that meant. So still don't.
That could be. You do too. You don't know what
nepotism
means?
is?
I have no idea what that means. So when she said it.
Remember
if you
when
have
they say it in-
famous parents, and so you get more things because of your parents.
So you're spoiled.
So, a lot of actresses or actors, maybe get a movie role because they have famous parents.
It's privilege.
And it doesn't mean that they're not great at what they're doing, but they probably got a leg up because of who, their parents were.
Got it.
Don't
Okay,
you remember in the SpongeBob talent show when Squidward is the MC and he says, proving that nepotism is still alive and well, and it's Pearl. And she gets on to the talent show, even though she has
one
no
of the
talent.
many jokes in SpongeBob that I didn't
understand.
Now you know.
Until you were 20,
Yes.
whatever years old.
And I still appreciate every time we can bring SpongeBob back into it.
Into the
as
show.
How we should have learned something when we were younger.
If we, even in these shorter shows, if we don't mention SpongeBob, it's
You're
a
doing
waste
a
of
disservice.
a show.
Yeah. Well, enjoy the podcast today. We'll let everything else be a mystery. If there is anything else, it's a shorter podcast. And don't forget RadioU.com to consider supporting and helping out.
Maybe we'll be able to have nepotism babies one day.
One day.
It's the Riot.
Hey guys.
Nepotism dogs, probably.
Yeah, not babies.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Now, I want to assuage everyone's concerns ahead of time. After the fundraiser, Nikki's going away for a little bit. You got a vacation plan and whatever, but when Nikki leaves, she is not leaving, as far as I know, to go take this bear hugger job in New Mexico that everyone's worried
been
about.
sending it to me a lot, and so I don't know if they're going to be worried if suddenly I'm gone.
Yeah,
after
right
knowing
after this pops up.
that there's this job available, and I didn't know this was a possibility.
I didn't know this was a job that anybody could actually have, but in the state of New Mexico, they are actually hiring specifically the Department of Game and Fish is hiring professional bear huggers. You'd basically be a wildlife conservation officer. And
which sounds like a good title for me, don't you think?
It's perfect for Nikki. I think, if you did leave and take this, I don't think anybody'd be upset. We'd all understand.
Isn't it mostly like baby bears?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's also not all it's cracked up to be. You do have to go through a year of training for firearms, boat operation. Why do you need a boat for bears?
I shot a gun before.
Yeah?
I can do a boat.
So you've got that taken care of.
I can do a boat.
Do you have a bachelor's degree in biological scences, police science, or law enforcement?
I can chatbot
forestry,
one.
ecology, or other related fields?
I can get one through chatbot. It's fine. Or I can get an honorary one for my radio work.
That's right.
I'll be fine.
All of your expertise in the field after years of talking about it on the radio. That's good enough, I think.
Yeah, plus they'd be hiring someone who's like known for their love of bears, and I think that would bring them a lot of news and talk and like, hey, look at this crazy girl.
Yeah.
Who's going to hug bears all day.
I think that could be really good for the state of New Mexico, and they need a win right now.
Well, I'll miss you guys. I'm not going to New Mexico.
No.
I love it. I've been there once.
You love New Mexico?
It was nice.
I guess I didn't even realize. I mean, they do have the Rocky Mountains there. A lot of people don't know that, but I didn't realize that bears would be in New Mexico. I'm still kind of unclear on, like they say, it's you have to be that it's a bear hugger, but I don't understand what you actually do.
I think you're comforting baby bears and kind of helping them as they grow through their first year because they just need a lot more support. If you have to be their mama bear.
What happened to the mama bear?
Well, it's tragic. I don't know. They don't want to talk about that.
Nikki, well, I don't know how to say that. Nikki stole the bears away.
I don't know. It could be like the one time I went to a turtle farm and it was like a sanctuary. So you went through, you got to hold little turtles.
Yeah.
It was so great. It was like,
sounds adorable.
How can you help with the sanctuary, making sure turtles are saved? And then at the end, you realize it's not. You could buy turtle soup. It's just like, oh no.
Well, you have to do something when the turtles
So that's how they made money. They sold the turtles.
So you're saying I could go to New Mexico to get bear meat.
So maybe there's bears somewhere else.
Would you eat? I know that bear meat exists. Would you eat it?
No, I would not.
You'd never even try it?
No, never even try it.
That's so disappointing.
Yeah, right. It's a shock. Thank you to everybody for sending this story in about the bear hugger job in New Mexico.
Nikki appreciates it, but she's not leaving.
I'm not
she's
leaving?
Not leaving RadioU.
Nope.
Not permanently.
Not for that.
Not for that.
Hey, they're already eating anyways. Might as well do it on the show. The Riot with Nikki and Hudson. RadioU.
Can I give some quick behind the scenes?
What did he spill?
That Isaiah was going to be in here to join us. And then
we just
he
hear
spilled
a thunk, and it's almost like a waterfall.
It's bad when you can hear it. The doors were kind of open, but we're still in like soundproof studios, and we can hear the spill. He says it was just water. And he says it didn't get on the equipment, hopefully.
But he's rushing now.
But maybe donate a little extra to replace whatever might have been fried.
Also,
by
that means
water.
He can't talk with us about this new crust.
Yeah.
Is this real or is it just teasing?
I think it's just fake, unfortunately.
It looks really good.
It is. Little Caesars has put out a little announcement. It's not even April Fool's Day, but they're pulling a prank on us with this announcement of a corn cob crust pizza.
They say they're just actually drumming up support because I guess their pretzel crust pizza will be returning, and they were just showing some other alternatives to a pretzel crust.
Which is, can I say?
What?
I'd be much more likely to go to Little Caesars if they actually did have a corn cob crust pizza, because there's zero chance I'm going to get the pretzel crust pizza.
Oh, you don't like it?
No, I mean, I'm sure that pretzel crust is fine.
Yeah.
It's just Little Caesars. I'm just not going to go.
Well, no offense, Little Caesars, but I stopped at one of your shadier locations years ago.
Yeah.
Got sick. Have never gone back.
Huh?
Even to one of the nicer ones.
Yeah. I used to not be, I know Little Caesars doesn't have a great reputation, at least around these parts, but I used to go every so often just because it was so cheap.
Yeah.
But with inflation, it feels like their prices have caught up with a lot of the other options that are similar. And so,
and the quality is not at the same as inflation.
It's not as good as Domino's or, some of the other places that are similar in price now. So it's just not as good of a deal. But I'll tell you, the corn cob crust pizza, I'm intrigued, actually. I think corn cobs, underrated.
But it's not real. And this feels like if you went to a fair, like a state fair, that this is where you would get.
There's got to be a bunch of food truck companies working on this for their fair stands for this coming fair season.
And they were joking that the corn cob crust comes with a 2-liter bottle of butter.
Yeah, which couldn't we all use that right now?
Actually, I would take that.
Melted butter, absolutely.
Especially if you had a little garlic in it. That's good just with any normal pizza.
Now, I don't know about the combo. Like, think about this, though. I mean, really what it would be is you just make a pizza and then also have corn cobs.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't eat, it's a corn cob. You can't eat. So do you think that'd be a good combo?
Oh,
a good side dish?
Listen, bread and nice corn, it's all good.
Cheese.
Yeah. It'd be similar
sauce.
to, like the mashed potato bowl with corn kernels in it. In some countries, corn on pizza is very common.
Is that right?
It is.
I've not heard of that.
So it's not strange at all.
See, that's because they've got the corn cobs with, it would be an insane amount of butter for you to actually eat, not even with the 2-liter.
You say insane, I say the right amount.
Okay, yeah. Well, you're low carb, so you can have all the butter you want.
I can't have anything else, but I can have the butter.
Yeah, that's right. But the corn cobs doesn't bother me, but the little pieces of corn on the pizza is where I had to question. That's where I was like, I don't know if I would go for that, but having some corn cobs, I mean, I'm never going to turn that down.
Well, it's not going to happen, though, anyways, unless you're making it on your own. They were just joking, getting you ready for the pretzel crust. So if you saw the corn on the cob pizza for Little Caesars, it's not real.
Little Caesars, you can't do this. You can't give us something more exciting than the actual thing you're giving us.
Sorry, they did.
Not really good advertising.
And it's not going to happen.
Hudson and Isaiah seem like they know a lot about sports, yet somehow it's Nikki that always gets it right. The Riot, Radio U.
Now, if I I bet you if I said Sofia Coppola, you guys probably wouldn't know who that is, do you?
Well, she's done some movies.
Yeah. She was, she's probably most known for directing Lost in Translation, which is still now over 20 years old. She was also in The Godfather as a baby and Godfather Part 3, and her dad directed The Godfather. Okay, so that's Sofia
Coppola.
This is? Married to a guy, famous Grammy-winning musician from the band Phoenix, and they have a daughter.
Yeah.
Their daughter is going viral right now, even though nobody would know who she is. Nobody would recognize her probably. She's only 16. She doesn't have any social media accounts because her parents won't let her. And somehow, though, video got out of her making a vodka pasta sauce at home.
Yeah.
She made the video. She had to make the pasta sauce because she's grounded. She can't go anywhere. You want to know why she was grounded?
I saw it. It came up on my For You page.
You didn't have to say that.
Wait, Isaiah, pretend like you don't know.
I have no idea.
Play along.
Play along, okay.
She got grounded because she chartered a helicopter for her to go see her camp friend and have dinner while she's in New York. Her camp friend's in Maryland, so she was trying to just, take a quick trip over. Just
hop on the chartered helicopter.
And have dinner, and she wasn't supposed to do that.
I don't think she was successful, and she was trying to do it on her dad's credit card.
And now she's grounded, and so she's got to find a way to occupy herself. Now, the video is great. There's a lot to love about it. Obviously, it's just crazy, the different lives that you could have. None of us were chartering helicopters when we were 16.
We're not even making vodka pasta sauce.
No.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. So she looked up a recipe, and then she goes, I had to look up what the difference between onion and garlic because I don't even know what those look like. And I'm still not convinced that she knows what she has in her hand. Do you guys think you would be able to differentiate between a clove of garlic and whatever you call an onion?
Yes.
When you were 16?
Probably,
You think so?
Yeah.
You could differentiate? I didn't think I knew what garlic looked like for a while.
But I knew what an onion looked like, and that's all I would need.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would know that by way of like, oh, the other one must be garlic.
I think it might be too late because she sent her babysitter out to get the groceries. But I think what you cut into it.
Her nanny. At 16, you don't have a babysitter. It's a nanny.
She said her babysitter's out getting more groceries, but her babysitter's boyfriend is there with her.
I wouldn't even have a babysitter.
And he's like
at
a
16.
40-year-old guy.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's just a whole I mean, you just kind of have to watch it. You guys ever get grounded?
Well, of course.
How long? What was the longest you got grounded for?
Not too often. My parents are pretty kind about it.
Yeah,
Even though
they
I
just
did
let
have
you
it-
get away with stuff.
I think so.
Yeah, you get. What about you?
I was the
Isaiah?
younger. So.
I don't think I ever really got grounded. I never really did anything to get grounded.
Oh,
Do we need
look
to
at you.
check with your parents on
I
that?
never
Yeah.
got grounded.
I don't believe
they
that.
were never like, you have to stay home.
I think they'd still ground you if
I
they
got
could.
I got in trouble, but like I never got like grounded.
Well, what was your punishment? Spankings? Like
I
that?
don't know. Probably spanked when I was
Yeah.
little, and then when I was like a big kid, I didn't really make any mistakes. I was a good kid. So I never got in trouble. If I got in trouble, my mom just like yelled at me.
Oh, I don't know about that. I do not know.
But I never got like, she never said like, go to your room and stay there.
She
Yeah, well, that
must
was-
have. She must
I don't think so. That ever happened, to be honest. I was a
don't
good
believe
kid.
that.
I never got in trouble.
I think most people consider me a good kid too, but I did get grounded a couple
You got grounded?
times.
What even is grounding? Like,
You
you just
stay in your
have to
room.
stay home?
Like if you went to school, you go to school, you come home, you don't go hang out with you. Like you just can't go out
Or
anywhere.
you're
do
grounded
anything.
from TV or something or from
Yeah.
games.
It's kind of a catch-all term.
Like, you get like things taken away. Like, I've had things taken away, but like, I don't ever. My
So
parents
then
were
you
never
were
just like, you
grounded.
have to stay
What was
here
taken away?
with me. Like, my phone is the
You're
the
grounded
go-to.
from your phone.
Yeah,
is what
that's
a
like-
lot of people would say.
Okay, then that's different, I guess.
Well, how about this? We can all say we never be grounded from the chance to charter a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
unfortunately.
just not an option.
Did you ever get so bored with being grounded that you had to look up a recipe to make vodka pasta sauce? When
No,
you had
'cause, I
no
mean,
expertise in that area at all.
If I remember correctly, I think we were just left alone a lot. So like you were just bored by yourself. But I mean, we didn't have a babysitter.
Yeah,
Or, like,
to watch
my
over
grandmother
you.
was next door if there was an emergency.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
So,
just like do your own thing.
If you were grounded from TV and your parents weren't there,
You just watched TV.
Yeah.
You just
Oh,
watched it
yeah.
anyway.
they really thought they could punish you that way.
But I
huh?
appreciate my mother's
And I know-
otherwise lazy parenting with not being so mean.
I know now, like parents aren't stupid. When you're a kid, though, you're just like, they think I'm not going to watch TV just because I'm grounded. They're not here. Well, I don't know why they did that. Was that some kind of mind game they were playing with me?
Don't know.
They probably just didn't care enough to like put the lock on the TV, and they were like, "He can watch it while we're
That's
not
too
here."
much work. Yeah, whatever.
You would have to show them how to block that.
Let him feel like he's
They
getting
were
away
that
with
upset,
something.
you know.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
Let's talk about dating. I always love busting out the dating deal breakers because, as you know, you just get more and more surveys, more and more people saying what a deal breaker is until you find that there's a deal breaker with everybody.
Sure.
You know?
Or meaning like a deal breaker, you won't date the person.
If you laid out the list of dating deal breakers, nobody would be dateable.
So these aren't even flags. These are just completely
Deal breaker.
Just deal breakers.
All right.
Like, game over.
So would you like to know this dating deal breaker is in regards to how much money you make? Would you like to know the average salary that is considered basically the deal breaking limit?
Oh, like if it's too low for someone?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. How low is it?
How low do you think it is?
I don't know. It's open to interpretation.
It is basically, I'll round it. It's basically $30,000.
That you wouldn't date someone who made less than
if you-
$30,000 a year?
Well, it would be tough, right? Especially if you're like a grown up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like if you're grown, how could you even live in most places on less than $30,000 a year?
Well, if you're still at home or
It'd
not.
be real tough.
Yeah, it'd be real tough.
I mean, we did talk about how your parents are paying the bills earlier today, so they probably have to be covering something if you're only making $30,000
Now,
a year.
I see, though, what the other issue is. I think that's more of a deal breaker.
With the loans?
Yeah, like if you're going in with way more debt than the other person,
Yeah.
I think that's a hard one to overcome.
Yeah, it looks like the top deal breaker, not just about salary, but the number one deal breaker when it comes to money is if somebody has a personal loan is the most likely thing to be a dating deal breaker for a person you might be going out with.
Yeah, that's a no.
Yeah, personal loan. What does that mean?
What do you mean? It's a no.
Like a loan, like it's like when you ask for money.
Yeah, but no, but like a personal loan.
Thank you, Isaiah.
I thought I'd break that down for the audience.
What is the...
That's what I signed up for.
Tell me more about this personal loan. You can just ask people for money and they'll give it to you?
They'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
They will just give it to you. It's this crazy thing. Even if you don't deserve it, they'll still give it to you.
Wow. That was number one. I just don't know. I guess it's not like it's number one by a wide margin. I don't know why personal loan would be all that much worse than credit card debt, which was number two. Or these next couple things, which I think might actually even be worse, and that is lack of financial literacy or irresponsible spending.
Yeah, that kind of all goes with it.
Irresponsible spending, I guess, that's something you can kind of, as you grow up, you can grow out of it. But if you just don't even know how to manage money whatsoever, that feels like that's just going to lead to all these other loans and issues that we're talking about, and they're going to crop up. Mm-hmm. So that feels like that should be number one.
Well, if you just have such a big amount of debt and you maybe haven't worked on it, it's hard, though, because the closer you get with someone and maybe your bills start to merge or someone's paying for one thing and the other, that's a real hard debt to then both get to work on. So I think if you have a larger debt, you got to start working on that ahead of time. And then at least when you're with someone, they know that you have been actively working on it.
You've been trying,
you know? Yeah.
I think that it's also
They're not
important.
just waiting for you.
Yeah, you want to pay off these student loans that I have? That'd be great.
I think it's important to point out, too, that this is a survey of people who I think are already married.
Oh, sure.
So this is what you're saying after you've already partnered up with somebody and you've been able to, like, they do point out that most people don't, even when they're dating, don't talk much about money until after they're already married, once the finances merge. But when you're actually out there in the dating world, when you're still single, I feel like you have a lot more, most people, a lot more forgiveness, or you just don't care as much about how the other person uses their money because, like, it just it hasn't come up yet. You haven't partnered up the finances. It's something you don't think about much until.
Well, I'm not saying that's first date topic.
Oh, it is.
You gotta get into that earlier than later.
I'm like, how much credit card debt we talking? And then they say something ridiculous, and I'm like, nice.
Can I run a credit check?
Yeah.
Would that be weird?
I'd just like to know how much you're really running up over there.
But then if they're smart, they'll go, no, if you run a credit check, that'll affect my credit.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
And then you know that's a keeper right there.
That's right. They're so fiscally responsible.
That's
which is the new hotness.
That
right?
is what a turn on.
You're like, I think I really like you. You're so responsible. It's different times, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I get you going after you get married, I guess.
That's it.
The fiscal responsibility.
Your For You page would be a lot more fun if it had Hudson, Nikki, and Isaiah. Follow at RadioU Official on TikTok. The Riot. Radio U.
On to a woman reliving her glory days, at least for one night. Her glory days as a 13-year-old. We have a woman in Virginia. She was an assistant coach on a JV girls basketball team. Her name is Arlisha Boykins. She's 23 years old, although there's some people questioning if she's even 23. She might be 22. Either way, she's not 13. And yet, when one of the players on that JV basketball team was out of town, Arlisha, the 23-year-old, took it upon herself to step in and pose as the girl who wasn't there and play and compete against other 13, 14, 15-year-olds.
Oh, you can't do that.
In an actual basketball game.
Okay, maybe Isaiah, help me with this. If you don't have enough players, are you not allowed to then, do you think the coach was stepping in because they'd be in trouble if someone was missing? Or was the coach just overzealous?
It seems that she was just a little bit overzealous.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably have more than 5 players on the team. If I had to guess.
Yeah.
They had enough
Maybe
people?
they don't. I bet they probably had enough.
Well, people, there's been some bugs going around.
Yeah,
so
maybe some people are sick, and that's different.
I think I see at least one person on the bench here. So
Dang, imagine sitting the bench while your coach plays.
that girl must not be any
Susie, I'll
good.
sub you in a second. You just sit there and let me get 20 real quick.
Oh, this is awful. So they say the other players have now agreed to cancel the rest of their season. That's so unfair for the rest of the team.
That's
That
real bad.
stinks.
They didn't do anything wrong, and it is tough. It's an especially tough look because once you see the video of this 23-year-old woman playing against 13, 14, 15-year-old girls, and she's doing she's taunting. She does the and one. Come
She's
on.
blocking shots.
Wow, yeah. She was getting way into it. So she probably, she's been waiting for this day.
The moment.
She's Uncle Rico out there. If I could just give it one more chance, I could throw a football over those mountains.
So the assistant coach is no longer a employee of the school. And what's also really sad, not only are the players they canceled, so they're not going to do the season anymore, but the teammate who was out of town, who the coach impersonated, is transferring, so has left the school because it's such a big thing. And the school is now doing a full investigation to see what exactly went on.
But you do have to wonder, we know that she played. We have video of that and everything. But it hasn't really come out of how did this whole thing come to be? Because all the other players had to be aware of it.
Yeah.
And she
No one
was
said
the
no.
assistant coach. So that means the actual coach had to be aware of this as well.
She was already on the court now.
Yeah, that's right. She
She was
had
already
the
doing
jersey on and
layup lines.
everything. Yeah, sheesh.
She was injured earlier.
Yeah.
So.
Man, well, she got her chance to relive her glory days. I wonder if it was all worth it. She's, definitely killed her lucrative
Assistant
JV
basketball.
coaching.
assistant basketball coach
It was a
career.
JV game, too. It wasn't even like it was a varsity game.
Right.
It was like a JV game. I just don't see that.
And I feel like once you're fired, everyone will know who you are, in that community or in that sports world.
Yeah, she's got to move.
So you're going to have to
Well,
move, but they'll always know who you are.
That other
Yeah.
girl has transferred out of the program so she can just keep posing as her.
Just fill in.
Just keep playing.
She'll get away with it.
That is a weird thing this person did.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
I think this is going to cause a lot of ruffled feathers at McDonald's, where at some locations they are testing out the possibility of going strawless.
Oh, the strawless lid.
Yeah, I know that that's going to hurt a lot of people where for some reason, I don't know, people have big attachments to straws.
I think it's more like they have a big attachment to their McDonald's drink experience.
Yeah.
And so not everybody likes change. And, the change on straws for some places, I think scared a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because we didn't like paper straws.
No, see, that's what I'm saying. Some
didn't
people are
like it.
very attached. They have to have their straw the certain way that they like it. And that's not paper. It's the way and McDonald's does.
They still use plastic straws.
Yeah, for now. And this is something that McDonald's, you can look this up, is that McDonald's has put a lot of care. A lot of restaurants, whatever, just hook up the soda to the thing and give them a straw. Who cares? McDonald's specifically is engineered their straws and their whole soda process to make theirs better than everywhere else. And it is. We know that the Coke and Sprite at McDonald's, the whole experience, it's better than at other fast food restaurants. So I understand why the McDonald's straw might hold a special spot in your heart. But then again, don't you think they'll put that same care into their new...
Oh, now stop there.
Into
no
their
one will.
same lids?
No one will.
They are going to. It's what makes them them.
So if you're into Dunkin', it'll be similar. What they're testing is almost identical to the Dunkin' cups that they switched to for their to-go stuff. It's got a pullback tab on the plastic top, and they say it's supposed to, because the problem with Starbucks switched to these pullbacks, and not everybody liked it because for their version, it would never stay pulled back.
Oh, yeah.
It would just always
Had
flip
that
back
problem
open.
before.
And they say that, no, this is an innovative design.
Yeah.
And
See,
it should
that's what
be
I'm
fine.
saying.
More like the Dunkin' ones.
McDonald's is going to put a lot of care and attention and effort into this. You can't make a big change that you know is going to upset people unless you can make some kind of improvement. And so McDonald's, they've got, it looks like not only is it going to pull back, the opening can pull back and stay pulled back, but you also will be able to pop it back closed if you want to hopefully prevent spills.
Oh.
I'm a big proponent of this. I don't know if you can tell.
I see that you're pro-change for the
pro-
McDonald's lid.
I'm anti-straw, and here's the thing. I'm anti-straw. It's not environmental, although sure, the side effects of our sea turtles going to survive because we don't use straws. That I'm all for that, but that's not why I care. I also don't care if other people use straws, but I'm anti-straw. And as an anti-strawite, I feel that I've been discriminated against all my life because you can't get what I want is a lid that doesn't require a straw.
Sure.
And you know where you can get that?
Where?
Nowhere.
Now
Until
it's
now
changing.
that McDonald's is changing this.
So McDonald's had said they want to eliminate small plastics is what they're working on. So that is their goal, they say, to help reduce waste. Not big plastics, but small plastics.
Yeah, and I wish they, again, I guess I'm for that, but I wish they were doing this to serve me and my needs. But at the end of the day, if my needs are served, that's what I really care about.
So they're testing it in certain locations. Some people are upset, as any change would bring, and they don't know if it will be a full move yet to the new lids for McDonald's.
An underrated side effect of this last thing
What?
is that the one error in the McDonald's soda process is when you put on the lid, whatever. You've got a lid on it, and you've got your straw, and you've got to poke the straw into the lid, and that's oftentimes results in Coke spurting out of the little opening, getting everywhere.
That.
You have to sip it off the top of the lid, or it spills on your jeans or whatever. We can eliminate that.
Well, you don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah, not if McDonald's goes strawless.
I just appreciate it'll leave room and open the door for more other problems for McDonald's with your order.
That's a good point.
I like there to at least be something.
I'm sure we'll find that these lids are also a problem for some other animal
That's true.
as well,
That's true.
polluting some other thing. So it's not all sunshine and roses, but it sounds like an improvement to me.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
A guy on TikTok getting upset because he had to tip a robot, or it was called a service charge. But come on, let's call it what it is. It was a tip. So that's one thing. But check out the stones on this guy. We don't know who he is, but another TikTok has gone viral featuring some Starbucks baristas trying to solve the issue of how do you refund a tip because somebody asked
for the refund back?
I want a refund on
Of
the
the tip?
Yes.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
Well, I mean, okay.
Can you even imagine?
I could never, because I just am not forward enough.
Yeah.
Confrontational like
I
that.
can't do that. Okay, so did they ask for the refund for the item and then wanted their tip back
Nope.
with that refund?
They
Or they
just
were
wanted
just
the gratuity back. That was
it looks like it was $2.
Yeah, $2.
Well, that makes sense.
Oh, this sounds like you, Isaiah, because they had accidentally selected the $2
it
gratuity
is confusing.
option,
It's confusing.
and they didn't mean to tip.
Oh.
So that does sound like
Sticky
you.
situation.
Can you picture? None of us would ever do this, right? How could you have that much courage in you to look a Starbucks barista in the eye
And say you didn't mean
that
to.
might make your drink, and you say to them, "Excuse me, I didn't mean to tip you. Can you refund me the tip back? That $2, I'm gonna need that." How could you do that?
That's
I don't care if
audacity.
it's an accident.
I can't imagine. I
Yeah.
cannot imagine.
I feel like at first you're like, well, as long as maybe the person has money problems, but then everybody would say if they have money problems, what are you
What
doing?
do they do?
with
What do you
the
do at
drink
Starbucks? Yeah.
And they do
$2
say
gonna make or break you.
this is also if you go out to restaurants a lot. If you can't afford to tip someone, then you should not be eating at
there.
restaurants
Yeah.
because
That's
technically
right.
that should be a part of it. But that's a bold move. I could
Yeah.
never do that.
That's real tough.
I can't even ask if I don't like the drink or if something was wrong with the
Right.
drink. I just live with it. I
Yeah,
just
even
can't.
if they mess up the drink, I'm not gonna like bring it back to them and be like, "Really, this is what you gave me."
If you
Can't refund.
pre-tipped and then they give you a bad drink, then you get somebody else to make the drink for you again.
Mm-hmm.
You don't say, "Well, I'd like to revoke that tip from you." That's surefire probably going to get you an even worse drink the next time. But I don't know. I picture like it has to be like an older guy, right? And it's the principal.
I
like
don't
he
know.
is Isaiah. like 50 years from now, and he's like, it's not my fault that I didn't mean to tip. It's this stupid system. I hit it with my wrong finger. This isn't. It's a Hank Hill type, is what it is. You know what I mean? Like that's the only kind of person that would do that.
I agree.
They say at this point to fix it, if you ever accidentally tipped and you want it back, that if you're the person that is dealing with that situation, you would just give them, cash back or something. Like you just can't refund a tip.
You know what? And this comes back to, I think we should just go back to the old tip jar. Yeah. You never mistakenly put something in the tip jar.
I feel like no one ever puts money in that anymore.
And that's why we need it back.
We do need it back.
Because we don't have cash.
It's the right way to do things. And, okay, let's think of it this way then. Let's say the tip jar was there. You want a tip. You accidentally put in... I accidentally pulled out a $5 bill, didn't realize, put in 5 instead of 1.
You just yank it right back out of it.
Yank it out, that looks like you're stealing from the tip jar.
If I accidentally tossed a 5 in the tip jar and it meant to be a 1, and I look in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually put a 5 in there.
Yeah.
Yank.
Nope, that's on you.
Yank.
That's a you
like
problem.
You're stealing, and you
yank.
can't. It looks like you're trying to make change.
In the coffee shop. Yeah.
I will make change. If I put a 5 in there, I'm pulling out like 4 1s out of the tip jar.
You can't do that with the tip jar.
And then I'm like, I left you a tip, all right?
Well, here's a new term to remember. Anytime as tipping becomes a more controversial system or thing, that the term is called guilt tripping. So say you're at a place that traditionally would have never asked for tipping in the first place, but now you get really hit with it. It is guilt tripping.
Yeah, I'm
not tripping, tipping.
Guilt tipping.
Guilt tipping. I'm anti that. I'm anti tipping, and that's not.
You're anti tipping?
I'm anti tipping.
I love tipping.
I'm not anti-tipping at a restaurant. I'm anti that we tip. It shouldn't be this way. We need to be more like everywhere else in the world.
And I don't believe you, Isaiah.
No, I like tipping. If you guys want to tip me, you're more than welcome. See, now that's the kind of thing.
How does that
if
sound?
I'm going to tip somebody who made me an ice cream cone, you guys can tip me for talking on the radio.
Oh, no.
How's that sound?
We do not need that tip
All
jar.
of a sudden.
Cosign.
You've made it all the way to the end of the Worst of the Riot. This show only exists because of support from listeners like you. Find out more and help out at RadioU.com/donate.